Lux presents Hollywood. Clever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Flakes, brings you the Lux Radio Theatre performance of Miracle on 34th Street. This is a wonderful story for the whole family, and perhaps some families may be gathered around a Christmas tree as they listen. Others may be putting up this happy sign of the season in a few days with lights and ornaments. But right now, it's curtain time for the play that proves there really is a Santa Claus. Miracle on 34th Street. It's Thanksgiving Day in New York City. On a broad avenue adjoining Central Park, an annual event is being joyfully awaited. A spectacular parade presented by Macy's department store to herald in the Christmas season. Away from the crowd are two of Macy's public relations experts.
Oh, he is simply wonderful, Mrs. Walker. Just look at him on that float. The most realistic Santa Claus we've ever had. Where on earth did you find him?
I don't know. I just turned around and there he was.
And to think, the man whose place he took was intoxicated. Oh,
With the breath that would knock over a reindeer.
oh, just think if Mr. Macy had seen him.
What if Mr. Gimble had seen him? Competition between our stores is tough enough.
Woo!
Well, the parade's starting. Let's stand at the curtain.
Not I, Mr. Shellhammer. I'm going home to relax. Anyway, I could see it from there. I live just around the corner.
Oh, so you do. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, Mrs. Walker, and congratulations on finding the best Santa Claus in Macy's history.
It certainly is a wonderful parade, Susan. Just look at that clown. Gosh, what a giant.
Giant, Mr. Gailey? There are no such things as giants.
Well, not now maybe, but in the olden days there were probably...
Really, Mr. Gailey? And you're a lawyer.
Well, what about the giant that Jack killed? You know, Jack and the Beanstalk?
Everybody knows that's a fairy tale. And I agree with my mother. Fairy tales are silly.
Come in!
Good afternoon. I'm Susan's mother. My maid said that...
Oh, hello, Mother. I'm watching the parade. Mr. Gailey invited me.
Hello, darling.
Susie's told me quite a lot about you, Mrs. Walker.
She's told me quite a lot about you, too, the man in the front apartment.
Well, this is all part of a plot, Mrs. Walker. I'm very fond of Susie, but I also wanted to meet you.
Oh, at least you're frank.
There goes Santa Claus.
Oh, don't even mention the name.
Why not, Mother?
Well, that Santa Claus you see was a last-minute substitute.
Why?
Oh, you remember the way the janitor was last New Year's.
Oh my, tight as an owl.
I see Susan doesn't believe in Santa Claus either.
That's right. She never has.
Well, that's the end of the parade. Mother, I've been thinking. It's Thanksgiving and there are only two of us. Couldn't we invite Mr.
Well,
Gailey?
I don't think that's
Please, don't bother. I'll just have a sandwich or something.
But we have such a big turkey. Please, Mother, please.
Well, I don't know.
Did I ask her all right, Mr.
Susie,
Gailey?
shh!
You asked fine, Susan. Dinner at 3, Mr. Gailey.
Hello, Mrs. Walker.
Yes, Mr. Shellhammer?
Your maid said you had Thanksgiving dinner, but I just had to call and tell you that your Santa Claus was stupendous.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Macy himself wants him to be our toy department Santa Claus.
Oh, fine. Can you hire him?
Oh, I already have. Oh, he is a born salesman. I just feel it.
Good. We'll talk about it in the morning. Thanks for calling, Mr. Shellhammer.
Good morning, Santa Claus.
Good morning.
Now, before you go to the toy department, here's a list of toys that we must push.
Oh?
You know, things where Overstockton. Now you'll find that a great many children will be undecided as to what they want for Christmas, and when that happens, you immediately suggest one of these items. Do you understand?
I certainly do.
Fine, that's just fine. And don't forget, you're working for Macy's!
Are you really Santa Claus?
Why, of course I am. What do you want for Christmas, little boy?
I want a fire engine with a real hose that squirts real wet water. And I won't do it in the house. I'll only do it in the backyard. I promise.
And I promise you'll get your fire engine.
See, Mama? I told you he'd get me one.
That's just fine. That's just dandy. You wait here, Mort. Mama wants to thank Santa Claus, too.
Yes, madam?
Say, what's the matter with you?
Now, what's the trouble?
I told you before, didn't I? The kid wants a fire engine, but there isn't one to be had anywhere in town. Macy's ain't got any. Gimbel's ain't got any. Nobody's got any. My feet are killing me. And you say, okay, he gets the fire engine.
But you can get those fire engines at Schoenfeld's on Lexington Avenue. Only $4.50. A wonderful bargain.
Schoenfeld's?
Yes.
Hey, I don't get it. Macy sending people to other stores?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
No. The one important thing is to make the children happy. Whether Macy's or somebody else sells the toy doesn't matter. Don't you feel that way?
Oh, yeah, sure. Only I didn't know Macy's did. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Who's next, please?
I'd like some roller skates, Santa.
Of course, little girl. You shall have them.
Mama, he's gonna bring me some roller skates.
And he has some fine skates here at Macy's. Haven't you, Santa Claus?
Oh, they're good skates, all right. But not quite good enough. Now, I left some really wonderful roller skates at Gimbel's. I'm sure Gimbel's has just what this little girl wants.
Mr. Shellhammer? Are you Mr. Shellhammer?
Yes?
The sales lady said I could speak to you. I just want to congratulate you and Macy's on this wonderful new stunt you're pulling. Imagine a big outfit like Macy's sending customers to Schoenfeld's.
Schoenfeld's?
From now on, I'm going to be a regular Macy's customer. All right, Mort, we're going.
Schoenfeld's?
There's a toy department over there, Mr. Gailey.
You certainly know all about Macy's store, don't you, Susan?
Well, that's because my mother works here. But I still think it's silly bringing me here to see Santa Claus.
Well, I just feel that when you've talked to him, you might
Okay,
just...
Mr. Gailey. I'm certainly willing to try.
Well, what a fine young lady. What's your name, little girl?
Susan Walker. What's yours?
Mine? Kris Kringle, of course. I'm Santa Claus. Oh, you don't believe that, hmm?
No. You see, my mother's Mrs. Walker.
Oh,
But I must say, you're the best-looking Santa Claus I've ever seen.
really?
Your beard, for instance. It doesn't have one of those things that goes over your ears.
That's because it's real. Just like I'm really Santa Claus. Now go ahead. Pull it.
Oh my goodness, it is real.
Yes. And now, what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
Nothing, thank you. Whatever I want, my mother will get. If it's sensible and doesn't cost too much.
Oh,
That's quite right, Susan.
Oh, hello, Mother.
Hello, Mr. Gailey.
Hello. The explanation for all this is very, very simple. Your maid's mother sprained her ankle, so she had to go home, so she asked me to bring Susie down to you, and as long as we were here, I figured we might as well say hello to Santa Claus.
He has real whiskers, Mother.
Would you mind standing over there a minute, Susan?
If you want me to.
I shouldn't have brought Susie to see Santa. Is that it?
Now you're making me feel completely heartless.
I'm sorry.
Don't you see? I tell Susan that Santa Claus is a myth, and you show her a very convincing old man with real whiskers. Whom is she to believe?
Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
When Susan was a baby, her father and I were divorced. And ever since then, I protected my child by teaching her realities. If you don't believe in fairy tales and fantasies, you can never be hurt or disillusioned.
We were talking about Susie, Mrs. Walker.
And I must ask you to let me raise her as I see fit. All right, Susan. The store's going to close soon. We'll run along to my office.
I got word that you wanted to see me, Mrs. Walker.
Oh yes, come in. I'd be grateful if you'll please tell Susan here that you're not really Santa Claus, that there actually is no such person.
Oh, but Mrs. Walker, not only is there such a person, but here I am to prove it.
No, you misunderstand. I want you to tell her the truth. Now, what's your real name?
Kris Kringle, and I always tell the truth. Susan, I'll bet you're in the 1st grade.
2nd grade.
I mean, your real name?
Well, that is my real name. My goodness, the 2nd grade.
Very well. I have your employment card right here. I'll look it up on that.
That's a very cute dress you have on, Susan.
It's from Macy's. We get 10% off.
Oh?
So, you always tell the truth, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Look at your employment card.
Name, Kris Kringle. Address, Brooks Memorial Home, Great Neck, Long Island. You may call the home if you care to confirm that, Mrs. Walker. It's a home for elderly gentlemen.
Would you also like me to confirm this part?
What part?
Date of birth, as old as my tongue and a little bit older than my teeth. Place of birth, North Pole. Now, really?
Why, I believe you doubt me, Mrs. Walker.
And this tops everything. Next of kin, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen. I'm sorry to have to do this, Mr.
Kringle.
But the Santa Claus we had 2 years ago is back in town, and I feel as though we owe it to him to,
Have I done something wrong?
No. It's just, we feel as... Oh, excuse me. Hello?
This is Mr. Shellhammer. Mrs. Walker, drop whatever it is you're doing. Mr. Macy wants to see us in his office. Immediately.
I'll be right up. I'm afraid I have to be very abrupt with you. I have to see Mr. Macy. You'll be paid for the full week, Mr. Kringle, and I'll send your check to that address.
Oh, come right in, Mrs. Walker. Mr. Shellhammer.
Thank you, Mr. Macy.
Now, about this new policy you two initiated. Macy's Santa Claus sending customers to Gimbel's. I mean...
I can explain everything, Mr. Macy.
You don't have to explain a thing. Just look at my desk. 42 telegrams and over 500 phone calls. Grateful parents expressing undying gratitude to Macy's department store.
Why? You don't say.
And from now on, not only will our Santa Claus continue in this manner, but every salesperson in the entire store.
You mean that if we haven't got what the customer asks for, where to
send him to where he can get it. No high pressuring and forcing a customer to take something he doesn't really want.
I think that's wonderful, Mr. Macy.
I will be the cat's pajamas, the helpful store, the friendly store, the store that places public service ahead of profits, and consequently we'll make more profits than ever. As for you, Mrs. Walker, Mr. Shellhammer, you'll find a more practical expression of my gratitude in your Christmas envelopes.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Macy.
yes, thank you.
And tell that wonderful Santa Claus I won't forget him either. Matter of fact, I'll tell him myself in the morning.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Macy.
Good night, Mr. Macy.
Oh, imagine a bonus!
Yes.
What's the matter with you?
Mr. Shellhammer, I just fired him.
Who?
Santa Claus.
Oh, no, you couldn't have!
But I did. He's crazy, Mr. Shellhammer. He really thinks he is Santa Claus.
I don't care! If he thinks he is the Easter Bunny, find him!
It was a frantic few hours that Doris spent rushing out to the Brooks Memorial Home in Long Island and assuring Kris Kringle that Macy's wanted him back as Santa Claus. Now, Kris is again presiding over the crowded toy department, while in her office.
Don't you understand, Mr. Shellhammer? The old man with the nice white whiskers insists that he is Santa Claus. Why, he's out of his mind. What if he should have a fit or something? Oh, no, I've got to tell Mr. Macy.
Yes, but maybe he is only a little crazy. Anyway, you can't be sure until he's properly examined. We'll send him to Mr. Sawyer.
Sawyer?
In personnel. He's paid to examine employees, isn't he? And now, by the way, what do you think of this?
What is it?
A full-page ad Macy's is running in tomorrow's newspapers.
Macy's is running? But it's all about other stores. Gimbals and sacks.
I know. Mr. Macy's idea to help our customers find what they want.
That Santa Claus has certainly started something. Oh well, I'll get a hold of him at his lunch hour and send him up to Mr. Sawyer.
So, you changed my clothes, Mr. Sawyer. You came right up.
Well then. That's your own beard, huh?
Oh, yes.
And, why do you carry a cane?
I always carry a cane, Mr. Sawyer. Well, that is when I wear my street clothes. I carved this cane out of a runner from one of my old sleighs.
Now what's that?
With a fine, solid silver top.
Uh-huh. Well, who was the first president of the United States?
What? Oh, give me a difficult one, like, who was the vice president under James Monroe?
Now I am conducting this examination.
The answer is Daniel D. Tompkins. You're rather nervous, man, aren't you, Mr. Sawyer? Tell me, do you get enough sleep?
My personal habits are no concern of yours. Now, what hand am I holding up?
Your right hand?
And how many fingers do you see?
3. Oh dear. You bite your nails too.
What? You, stand up now, feet together, arms extended.
Muscular coordination test. I've taken dozens of these. Mr. Sawyer, are you happy at home?
That will be all, Mr. Kringle. This examination is over.
Thank you.
Hello?
Mr. Sawyer, this is Mrs. Walker. I just wanted to see how the examination of Mr. Kringle went.
Well, I'll tell you, Mrs. Walker. After examining the old man, I am going to personally see to it that he be dismissed immediately and sent to a mental institution.
With Mr. Sawyer making plans to commit Kris, Doris decided it would be best to move jolly old St. Nick someplace where she could keep a better eye on him.
I'm glad you were here for dinner, Mr. Kringle.
Well, thank you, Susan.
I'm also very glad you're going to live next door with Mr. Gailey.
Oh? Why?
Because you're nice to talk to.
Oh, I say, what a fine young man that Mr. Gailey is, huh? Just think, allowing me to share his apartment, a mere stranger.
He did it because Mother hinted to him.
Oh, Well, anyway, I'm very grateful.
Shall I tell you what I did in school today?
Oh, by all means. Any games?
Yes, and a very silly game, too.
Oh,
They played zoo, and each child was supposed to be an animal.
Susan, they were just pretending.
That's what makes the game so silly.
Well, of course. In order to play games, you need imagination.
Oh, that's when you see things, but they're not really there, huh?
Well, yes, but to me, imagination is a place all by itself. Now, you've heard of the French nation and the British nation.
Yes.
Well, this is the imagination. A very interesting place, too. Now, how would you like to be able to make snowballs in summertime?
What?
Be the Statue of Liberty in the morning, and in the afternoon fly south with a flock of geese.
Well, I'm quite sure I'd like it, but I'm not...
Oh, it's very simple, really. Look here, the next time they play zoo, you can be a monkey.
But I don't know how to be a monkey.
Don't you? Oh, I'll show you. Now first, you bend over a little like this, see? Now, let your arms hang loose, see?
Like this?
Yes, that's fine. Now, put your hand over here and start scratching, see? That's it. That's excellent, Susan. Now, you start chattering.
Chattering?
Yes. Now listen. See? And keep scratching. Now then, look here, we'll do it together, see? Chatter and scratch and chatter. That's fine, Susan, fine. You're doing beautifully, yes. Susan. About Christmas. There must be something you'd like for me to bring you.
Well, I've certainly thought about something, Mr. Kringle.
You have? Well, what is it? Tell me.
It's right here, in this desk drawer. See?
Oh.
I tore this page out of a magazine. It's a picture of a house.
Oh, that's what you want, is it? A doll's house. Colonial architecture.
Not a doll's house. A real house.
A real house?
Yes. And if you're really Santa Claus, you can get it for me.
Now, wait a minute, Susie. What could you possibly do with the big house?
Live in it with my mother. And a backyard with a big tree to put a swing on. And a garden. And a... Oh, well. Why even discuss it?
Susie, could I keep this picture? Just in case.
I guess so.
Thank you, dear, thank you. Well, Mr. Gailey's waiting for me. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Kringle.
Take whichever bed you'd like, Mr. Kringle.
You're very kind, really. Tell me, Mr. Gailey, just what is it you do for a living?
I'm a lawyer. High slip, Sherman & McKinsey.
Oh. And you like living here in the city?
Well, it's convenient, but someday I'd like to get a place on Long Island.
Huh?
Not a big house, just one of those junior partner deals around Manistee.
One of those little colonial houses, huh?
Yeah, a little colonial house would be swell.
Good, yes. You're quite fond of Mrs. Walker, aren't you?
Yeah. A lot of good it does me. She lives in a cast iron shell that's just a little too difficult to penetrate.
Well, you must try a little harder, Mr. Gailey. You know Mrs. Walker and that child are a couple of lost souls. And it's up to us to help them.
Huh.
Yes. Shall I turn out the light?
Oh, no.
No?
No. I'm not going to get cheated out of this. You know, all my life I've wondered about it, and now I'm going to find out. Tell me, does Santa Claus sleep with his whiskers outside or inside his covers?
Outside, of course. Outside by all means. The cold air makes them grow.
Well, thank you very much.
For a few weeks, a jolly elderly gentleman named Kris Kringle has been working minor miracles as Macy's Santa Claus. But now, thanks to mean old Mr. Sawyer, Kris has been bundled up and taken to Bellevue for mental observations.
You can see Mr. Kringle now, Mr. Gailey.
Thank you, nurse. Hello, Kris.
Hello, Fred.
Kris, I've been speaking to the doctors, and they said they've given you some tests.
Oh, yes. Same old tests.
Except this time, you failed to pass them. Kris, you deliberately failed. Why?
Why? Well, because I had great hopes, Fred. I had a feeling Mrs. Walker was beginning to believe in me. And now I discover she was only humoring
But
me.
this wasn't Doris's idea at all. Mr. Sawyer had you sent up here.
Well, it's not just Mrs. Walker. Take Mr. Sawyer. He's contemptible, dishonest, deceitful, yet he's out there and I'm in here. Well, if that's normal, I don't want it.
But you can't just think of yourself right now, Kris. What happens to you matters to a lot of other people. People like me who believe in what you stand for, and people like Susie who are just beginning to. Kris, you're letting us down.
Well, Fred, maybe you're right. Of course you're right. I ought to be ashamed of myself. Let's get out of here.
Nope, wait a minute. You flunked your mental examination, but good.
Oh, yes, so I did. Well, anyway, you're a lawyer. You fix it.
Kris, it's not that easy. There'll have to be a hearing. If you're going to be committed, it has to be before a judge.
Well?
Well, if I can do anything at all, it'll have to be in a courtroom. Sit tight, Kris. I'll get an idea. I must get an idea. Don't worry, though. I won't let you down.
You sent for me, Mr. Macy?
I certainly did, Mr. Sawyer. I brought my family to the toy department yesterday to see our Santa Claus. And our Santa Claus isn't there. He's in Bellevue. And I hear it's all because of you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Macy.
You say he's a lunatic.
Yes, sir, a lunatic.
Lunatic by foot. Now you listen to me, Sawyer. You get that Santa Claus back here right away, or you'll spend this holiday season looking for a new job.
But it's out of my hands. Mr. Kringle goes to court this morning for a competency hearing.
Well, you better hope he's back in the toy department by this afternoon. Today is Christmas Eve, man, and we're the only store in New York City without a Santa Claus. Now get out of here!
Yes, sir.
Kris Kringle's sanity has seriously been questioned. In a crowded courtroom on the morning of Christmas Eve, Judge Harper listens patiently as Kris takes the witness stand.
This is not a trial, Mr. Kringle. It's just a hearing, so you don't have to answer any questions if you don't want to. Now then, where do you live, please?
Well, it seems to me that's what this hearing will decide, won't it?
Mr. Kringle, do you believe that you are Santa Claus?
Of course I do.
And do you have legal counsel here to attest to this fact?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Fred Gailey.
Well, Mr. Gailey,
Your Honor, my client contends that he believes that he is Santa Claus.
yes.
And you believe yourself to be Judge Harper. Yet no one questions your sanity because you are Judge Harper. Is that correct, Your Honor?
Mr. Kringle is the subject of this sanity hearing, not I.
Well, Your Honor, I intend to prove that the Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
Santa Claus?
Yes, he's crazy. Be out of his mind.
The question of Santa Claus seems to be largely a matter of opinion. The tradition of American justice demands a broad and unprejudiced view of such a matter. This court, therefore, intends to keep its mind open. Mr. Gailey, do you or Mr. Kringle have evidence to show that your client is indeed Santa Claus?
We do.
What evidence?
This letter, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, Mr. Kringle.
It was delivered to Bellevue yesterday. It's from Susan Walker. She believes in me. Oh, this letter means more to me than anything in the world.
That letter was delivered by the United States Post Office, an official agency of the federal government. Furthermore, the laws of this country make it a criminal offense to willfully misdirect mail or intentionally deliver it to the wrong party. Your Honor, that letter received by Mr. Kringle is positive proof that a competent member of our society believes him to be Santa Claus.
One letter is hardly positive proof, Mr. Gailey.
Well, I do have further exhibits, Your Honor, but I hesitate to produce them.
Come, Mr. Gailey, put them here on my desk.
But, Your Honor, it's quite a few...
I said put them on my desk.
All right. Boys, bring them in! Put those mail sacks on Judge Harper's desk. Bring them all in, or be fined for contempt of the court.
Now, just a second here, Mr. Gailey.
Your Honor, every one of those letters and every one of those mail sacks is addressed to Santa Claus. When word got out that Santa Claus was institutionalized, Bellevue has been swamped with letters from around the world, all addressed to Mr. Kringle, and the post office delivered them. Therefore, the post office department recognizes Kris Kringle to be the one and only Santa Claus.
Since the United States government declares this man to be Santa Claus, this court will not dispute it. Case dismissed! Woo! And for heaven's sake, get this mail out of my courtroom!
So as soon as I got out of court, I came straight to Macy's to see you, Doris.
Oh, Kris, I'm so glad you won.
I'll get into my costume immediately and see to that line of children waiting for me. But before I do, I want you to know that we're having a big Christmas party at the Brooks home tomorrow morning. I'd like so much to see you and Susan there.
We'll be there, Kris. And after work, couldn't you come to my place and have dinner with us? Fred will be joining.
Tonight. Me. My goodness, Doris, not tonight. It's Christmas Eve. Milk and cookies, Doris. Don't forget the milk and cookies.
Of course.
Thank you so much for coming, Doris. You too, Susan. Why, Susan, you look upset. Is something wrong?
I'm all right. I just didn't get a gift I was really hoping for.
Well, what was it?
It doesn't matter. I knew I wouldn't get it. Mr. Kringle couldn't get it for me because he's not Santa Claus. Not really.
Susan!
You're just a nice old man like Mother said.
But I was wrong when I told you that. You must believe in Mr. Kringle and keep right on doing it. You must have faith in him.
But that doesn't make sense, Mother.
Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to.
What?
I mean, just because things don't turn out the way you want them to the first time, you still got to believe in people. I found that out.
Hello, Doris.
Fred?
Merry Christmas, Susie.
Gosh, you just get here and we're ready to leave.
Oh, I've been here a little while, and if you're ready to leave, I'll drive you home.
Before you go, here's a map I've made for you to get back to the city. You'll miss a lot of traffic going this way. About 4 miles south, you will see Ashley Avenue. Now that's the street you want. Ashley Avenue.
Thanks, Kris. And Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas to you, Fred. And to you, my dear. And to you, Susan.
I don't understand it, Fred. The map Kris gave definitely says Ashley Avenue. We've been on Ashley Avenue now for hours.
Stop the car! Stop the car, please!
Susie? What is it, darling? What's the matter?
There it is. The house! The house!
Susie!
What in the world?
She's running into that house.
Well, at least there's no one home. It's brand new. It's just been built.
Yeah, and the sign out front says for sale.
What on earth is that child up to?
Susie! Hey, Susie!
Here I am, upstairs.
Now come right down. You know you shouldn't run around in other people's houses. That's strange. I've seen this house somewhere. I know I have. Maybe in a magazine or
Mother,
a newspaper.
it's our house. It's the one I asked Mr. Kringle for.
Mr. Kringle?
Oh, you were right, Mama. Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
Now where are you going?
In the back to see if there's a swing. There is one. Oh, there is one.
Well, the sign outside says for sale. We really can't let Susie down, can we?
No. I guess we can. Fred?
What's the matter?
There. In the corner by the fireplace.
Oh, no.
It can't be. It couldn't be.
Chris's cane. There couldn't be two canes like this anywhere in the world.
Silver handle and all.
Well, Doris, it looks like I was right to prove that there really is a Santa Claus.
Before we meet again in this theater, the most joyful day in the year will have come and gone. There are in our time, as in every time, a few foolish men who deride the spirit of Christmas. But in every country and in every time, they are overwhelmed by those who find it in the hope and happiness of the future, by those of us who believe in our hearts that there can be peace on this earth and goodwill among all men. On behalf of Lever Brothers Company and of us in the Lux Radio Theatre, may I wish all of you the happiest of holidays. Be sure to listen next Monday night to the Lux Radio Theatre presentation of The Luck of the Irish, starring Dana Andrews, Ann Baxter, and Cecil Kellaway. Stay tuned for My Friend Irma, which follows over these same stations.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Ho, ho, ho!